All right, so we're going to continue on with 6.6 and get into one of the concepts students have a little bit harder time with, and that's composition of functions here. And there's two ways we're going to show this. We're going to do this with equations, and we're going to do this with graphs. The graphs, I think, is a little bit easier, but it just takes a second to see it. So I have a couple examples of that at the end. I want you to think of composition of functions as we're plugging in an equation into an equation. So we should all be familiar with this notation. If I gave you like f of 2 and I wanted you to plug that in to 3x plus 4, what I'm saying is x is equal to 2, and I want you to plug in 2 for x. So you do 3 times 2 plus 4, which would be 6 plus 4, which is 10. And we would reduce that and simplify that to get my simplified answer. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to give something that looks like this. I want you to find f of x plus 8. When I had a 2 here, what did I do? I just plugged in x plus 8, or I just plugged in the 2 for this x. Well, we're doing the same thing. It just looks goofy because we're plugging in an equation into x. Whatever's in this parentheses here, we're plugging in for this x. So it would look like 3. What am I plugging in for x? Well, it's telling me to plug in x plus 8, so I would go x plus 8 plus 4. And then now I do the algebra to simplify this. I would distribute and combine like terms. So it would be 3x plus 24 plus 4, which would be 3x plus 28. So I actually get a second function when I compose two functions together. So we're going to start off with a problem where we solve it. Then we're going to show a couple where we plug in an equation into an equation. So you see here I got two equations, and I want you to look at the notation. A lot of the times I will write it as g of f of negative 3, okay? This is the same exact thing. The composition function looks like a little open multiplication symbol, but it's not multiplication. So this is telling me to plug in 3. We always start in the middle. So I'm asking you to plug in f of negative 3. So I need to take this negative 3 and plug it into that x. So I've got g of, no more f. F is just telling me, hey, you're using this function. It's named f. This could say f of, or g of q, and as long as that said q, I would use this function. So I'm taking negative 3 and plugging it in to this function. So it'll be negative 3 minus 5. Okay, all I did was take this negative 3, plug it into that x, and rewrote the rest of the problem. So I have g of negative 8 now. Okay, well now I'm dealing with g. And what is g? G is x squared. So I'm going to take what I'm asking you to plug in and plug it into that. So it'd be negative 8 squared, which is 64. So the answer to this is 64. Okay, so again, we start in the middle, and then we kind of work our way out. But we make sure that this is telling us, this does not mean to multiply g times 8. Big time mistake a lot of students make. It's saying, hey, where's the function g? What does it equal? Oh, g equals x squared. I'm going to take that value and plug it in. Okay, so let's take a look at a problem here. We're going to scratch that one and scratch this one, but we're going to do this. This does not say fog x. This says f of g of x, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the middle. Start in the middle. What does that mean? That means I'm going to put in f of, what does g of x equal? G of x is not equal to a number here. It's equal to an equation. So I'm going to put in what g of x is. Okay, now, once I do that, I'm no longer dealing with g of x. I'm now dealing with f. So anywhere that there's an x in f of x, I'm going to plug in what's in parentheses here. So a lot of times I tell students the first few times you do this, write down what f is. F is 3x minus 2. Right? That's what this equation is. I'm going to take what's in parentheses and plug it in just for that x. Sometimes you replace x with another x. Okay? So it looks goofy, but all I'm doing is saying, okay, well, what am I going to put in for x? I'm going to put what's in parentheses up here, which is x plus 1, and then I rewrite the equation. So notice the 3 is still there. The minus 2 is still there, and all I did was plug in what's in parentheses up here, and then I do the algebra. I'm going to distribute, right? So it'll be 3x squared plus 3 minus 2, and I'm going to combine like terms, which would be 3x squared plus 1. So this would be the composition function f of g of x. Okay. So same thing here. We're going to start in the middle. Okay, we're going to start in the middle. So I'm going to have f, this is straight from Desmos, so you're having a few problems like this, f of 2x squared minus 5x plus 8. So now I'm dealing with f, which is x minus 2. Well, what am I going to plug in to this x? I'm going to take this entire thing in parentheses. I'm going to put 2x squared minus 5x plus 8. I'm going to finish the problem putting a minus 2. So all I did was take what was in parentheses here and plugged it in for that x. And now I combine like terms, 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. And this is the new composed function when I compose f of g of x. I also could be asked to do this. This is a little bit harder of a problem, okay? But I want to write it out. So this would be g of, what's f of x? X minus 2. So now I'm going to deal with g, which is 2x squared minus 5x plus 8. I'm actually going to take and plug this in for every single x. So look at the algebra I have to do here. 2. What am I plugging in for x? An x minus 2. I got to put the squared. Minus 5. What am I plugging in for x? An x minus 2 plus 8. And then now I do the algebra. I'm going to do this a little bit quicker. Okay, x minus 2 squared means x minus 2, x minus 2. So I would FOIL that, and it would give me x squared minus 2x is a minus 4x, and then negative 2 times negative 2 is a plus 4. Okay, I'm going to distribute here, so it'll be a minus 5x plus 10 plus 8. I'm going to distribute this 2. So a ton of algebra, that was stuff we've done from before, right? Distributing plus 8 minus 5x plus 10 plus 8. And then I combine like terms. So I have 2x squared, negative 8x minus 5x is a minus 13x. 8, 10 is 18, plus another 8 is a plus 26. So when if I were asked to do g of f of x, I get a completely different function, okay? But it's just a ton of algebra. So can be difficult. Give it a shot. I want to look at a couple of graphs now, and these are really simple, but you got to pay attention. Like, what am I asking you to do? I'm asking you to go to where f of 6 is. This is saying, what does y equal when x is 6? So I'm asking you to look at what this means right here, x equals 6. So I'm plugging in, what does y equal? So at x equals 6, what does y equal? Y equals 0. So now I'm asking you to find g of 0. So I go over here, okay, at 0, what is the y value? And it would be 6. So the answer to this problem is 6. So it's kind of like a map. You're given a key, and you got to follow that map. So for this problem, f of g of negative 1, pay attention, this is g. The x value I'm asking you to look at is negative 1. So x is negative 1. What's the y value here? 2. Okay, so now we're trying to find f of 2. Where'd I get 2 from? Again, I'm looking at negative 1, the x value. What's the y value? Y value is 2. So there's the 2. So now f of 2 means, hey, the x equals 2. What does y equal? So I go up, and the y value is 7. So the answer to this would be 7. So again, they're kind of like little keys to maps, a little bit easier problems, but you got to be able to follow them, okay? So this is going to be the second set of 6.6. Hopefully it doesn't take you a very long time for this assignment, but you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work.